Metal Bake Sale. My name is Prairie Dog.
Special K, and tonight we're going to be going over the new Alice in Chains album, Rainier Fog. It is their first album in 5 years. So far, it's been a great album from what I've listened to. I've listened to it roughly about 3 times through, so I think I have a good feel for it. So the first single off the album and the first song off the album was The One You Know. Great single. Album-wise, video. They had a music video for it. I want to say the only song they had a music video for on the album. It was the music video was cool. I'd have to really look into it to figure out what it was, the meaning behind it. But the song itself, it's super catchy, instantly catchy. So unlike some songs you have to listen to a few times and you don't get it. This is instantly catchy. Now I will say right off the bat for this album, if you're expecting a Lane Staley era album, so if you're expecting their self-titled album or Facelift, or Dirt, or anything like that, you're not going to get that here because Lane Staley is gone, and their new William Duvall, he does a good job of filling those shoes. Will they ever be Lane? No, but Alice in Chains is not dead, and I know a lot of people kind of threw him off to the side after Lane died. I don't think that's. I think that's not a good thing because Jerry Cantrell is a wonderful guitarist, and the rest of the musicians in the band are really, really good. And I think it's stupid to not listen to them anymore just because Lane Staley's not there anymore.
Absolutely.
So anyway, The One You Know, great single. I loved it. I listened to it. I pre-ordered the album off their website, so about a month or a half early. So when you pre-order it, I got that and 2 other songs, a single to listen to right off the bat. So I heard the song quite a few times before I got it. Also got the special edition, so I got Candles, a T-shirt, and the album. But unfortunately, at the time of shooting this, I still don't have my album, and it's been out for 2 or 3 days. So I'm slightly frustrated in that aspect. So I had to listen to it on YouTube and Spotify, which I hate doing.
Who did you order it from?
Alice in Chains website. I ordered directly from them.
Okay.
Because I wanted the special edition T-shirt and all that. So you know me.
Yeah.
So next song is Rainier Fog. Also, a great song. I'm gonna go ahead and say there's not a bad song on this album. There's no filler. This is a real album. We've reviewed a few other albums, new albums on the show. Not naming any names, but 32 minute, 33 minute albums that are 10, 11 songs long and have a lot of filler. And this album has no filler. And, not saying instrumentals are bad, but it does have no instrumentals. The songs are girthy. To say the least. So the shortest song is 4 minutes and 20 seconds. They have songs all the way up to 7 and 8 minutes long. It's nice to really hear songs pan out because I feel like a 2 and 3 minute songs, it's just a bleep.
Oh really? Yeah. And what's great about this album is you can just put the CD in or whatever. I'm sorry, that shows how dated I am.
Yeah.
You can listen to it in whatever medium you prefer, and you can just let it run and enjoy it.
We were all casually sitting here listening to it, and some of us, because we're at the KBR crew, some of us aren't familiar with Alice in Chains, and everybody really enjoyed it instantly, especially with the first track we played with The One You Know. We played one other track we're going to mention here in a minute that everybody was really into, including myself, and it's one of my favorite tracks on the album. But Rainier Fog is really, really cool. Now, I've heard 2 rumors. I did a little research before this about the title Rainier Fog. A lot of people were saying it was about Mount Rainier, and then other people were talking about it was Rainier beer. Being in a beer fog from drinking too much Rainier beer. I like the latter of that one. I wish it was about Rainier Fog, being drunk in a fog. It would make sense. Jerry Cantrell has had a very speckled past with drugs and alcohol. I'm not sure about William Duvall. I don't know too much about him as a whole. So the next song is Red Giant. You want to talk about Red Giant?
Red Giant's fantastic. It's really I've enjoyed just about everything on this album. But this was the first track that really popped out at me. It just really got my attention. They do a great job of harmonizing with their guitar parts on this track, and it's got such a great pacing. Where the emphasis is on the tracks. It's really rhythmically interesting. I love this song.
Jerry Cantrell's guitar work definitely shines on this album, and vocally, it's amazing how much William Duvall and Jerry Cantrell can, I'm going to say mimic, but they're mimicking Lane Staley in a way. I think they definitely sound a little bit different than Lane, but they do a good job of keeping the Alice in Chains sound on this album. And their dual harmonies and stuff like that, they're vocally, it's so cool to hear the dual vocals at the same time. Every once in a while you hear one of them go off on their own for a second, but it's nice that with a lot of new people in the band, they don't give them as much leeway because they're new and they're not familiar with the band. But it seems like, because Jared Cantrell, let's be real here, he's running this band, and you can tell that he definitely respected William Duvall, and he definitely did a good job of highlighting vocals. And I know that I'm not sure about all the writing credits, but I know William Duvall did write quite a few of the songs lyrically on the album, which is pretty cool. Because you don't, like I said again, you don't see that a lot with people who just jump right into a band. Sometimes they're hesitant about letting new members, even though he's not new at this point. He's been in the band since 2009, so almost 10 years. Yeah. So since I think the album's called Black is the New Blue, was their first album, followed by The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here, which I'm going to go ahead and say this, and you agree or disagree, but I think this Rainier Fog here, this is better than their last album.
Absolutely.
And out of their new Alice in Chains genre, I'm not saying the old stuff, but definitely better than any of the newer albums out there. It's there's very polished, and there's a lot of work put into it.
Yeah.
There's like no flaws. Like you don't hear any, like, as far as production quality goes. It's
super smooth.
It's amazing. So the next song is Drone. Drone is a cool song. I did look at a few other reviews before I checked out this album. A lot of people thought this was one of the best songs on the album. I didn't love it, but I liked it a lot. So I'm not gonna everybody's opinions are different. So I thought Drone was really good. What did you think of it?
I mean, for me, Drone, I think it's a funny title because that's the point for me where the album is just droning. I mean, it's great. Like, it's a good song.
It's the style of music. When you're in this doom genre, it's going to sound a little droning, and it's supposed to. It's Alice in Chains. They've always been that way. It's supposed to be low and deep guitar riffs with droning vocals, and that's kind of how it is. And it borders on that genre. It borders on that metal. It's more. I would say it's more metal than grunge at this point.
Yeah.
More like the stoner and doom metal genre, but definitely it has some bright notes to it, which you don't see in a lot of the other.
For me personally, Drone is not the highlight of this album, but by no means was it. Again, there's no filler on this album.
Yeah.
The next track was Fly, which was a really nice change up on the album. I think it moves to a more acoustic style, and I think it was a good break.
It was the track. I believe maybe like they toned it down a little bit, and from the drony, heavy, heavily almost I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Not saturated, but heavy drony riffs, I guess.
Very full.
Yeah, it was a cool track. Not going to talk a lot about it though. We're gonna lyrically. Oh, I didn't mention the lyrically on this album. All the lyrics are wonderful. There's definitely deep meaning behind all the lyrics, and I will say it's refreshing from previous albums we reviewed. Not saying that other albums aren't lyrically interesting, but generally it might be those albums are like 3 sentences repeated over and over again. There's actually some thought put behind some of these lyrics.
Right.
So the next song is Deaf Ears and Blind Eyes. Full title. It's a 4-minute and 44-second song. It was kind of in the middle there, so it's one of those ones that you hear. It's a good song, but you're kind of like, it's nothing like to write home about. It's not like it's not Red Planet or any of the other songs on there, any of the other singles. But I want to talk about Maybe for a little bit, because Maybe it starts out with I believe it's William Duvall. It starts out with like it's an awesome line, and then it goes into another acoustic section. Very nice, calming. Again, it's a nice break where it leads into the last couple songs, which are like they leave you wanting more on this album, which is impressive at almost an hour long. I know I'm skipping really fast here, but we're going long. So next track is So Far Under. This is the track that had that really interesting key change. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Far Under starts off, and it's kind of similar to a lot of the other tracks. And then at some point during the song, they kind of go into this, I guess like a bridge or something like that, where they just kind of go totally out of the key, just doing like all this dissonant chromatic stuff. And it's really interesting the way they blend the guitar work with the vocals. It's just disorienting.
I was like, when I heard it, I'm like, I don't know if I liked it at first, and then I had to actually when I heard that track, I had to replay it 2 or 3 times when I first heard it, and I was like trying to figure it out. So I was like, my mind wasn't processing it very well. It was if you have to go back on a song and do it like that, it's clear, they're making
cool.
you think, and it's cool. Like
it's a very like almost Meshuggah kind of effect.
Yeah.
When you listen to that disorienting kind of math stuff, but just tonally. I don't know. Very cool.
It really shows where Jerry Cantrell's at.
Yeah.
Which I hear his solo stuff's really good. I've never sat down and never sat down and listened to any of it. But I know he had the other rest of Alice in Chains with him, so it was like it was probably just Alice in Chains.
Right.
So the next song is Never Fade, which is my favorite track on the album, lyrically and like instrumentally. I think it was at least my favorite. Did you have a favorite on the album as a whole?
My favorite was Red Giant.
Yeah, I mean that's my second. Red Giant's my favorite. Never Fade. It's I can relate to it, and it's like I said, lyrically it's great. Harmony's really good on it, and the guitar works. Obviously, it's the same. We're gonna say the same thing over again, but it had some uniqueness to it.
Yeah.
And the last track on the album was a long one. It was the best closer on an album that I've heard in a long time. And I will say, even go and say Ghost Prequel, they had a really good closer on that album. They had Life Eternal, which was a great closer. With this closer, All I Am, phenomenal. And again, like I said, I wanted more. I wanted to listen to more at that point. And for an album that was 60 minutes long,
that's impressive.
Yeah, because at that point, you might some stuff. You get that long, it tends to it all sounds the same. But they did a good job of differentiating the sound on here. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you about covered it. Overall, this is just a really fantastic album. What would you rate it?
I'm going to give it an 8.5. Really high if you understand our ratings. 5 is average, 6 is above average, 7 is good, 8 is great, 9 is amazing, 10 is follow the band around the country. Definitely an 8.5. Is it perfect? No. Is it early Alice in Chains era? Is it Dirt? Is it Facelift? No, it's not that era. But they do a good job sticking to the sound while still sounding modern enough to where they don't sound dated, which is what I was worried about when I listened to this album. And honestly, I didn't have a lot of hopes for this album when it came out. And after I heard it, my mind was blown. So I was super excited after I heard the first single off of it. I was like, man, this is going to be a great album. And it was all the way through. And it's going to be one that's going to be sitting in my car for a while. Yeah, I'm going to be listening to it pretty regularly. What about you?
For me, I've always respected Alice in Chains, and I've always felt like they're kind of hit and miss. I'm actually going to rate this a 9, and I'm typically the one who rates things a little bit lower, I feel like, but I was extremely impressed with this album. It's been so long since I've heard an album that you can just put on and play all the way through, and there's that consistency all the way through, and yet there was diversity to the tracks. As you said, they did a great job of they have their original sound, but they've brought it to the modern era flawlessly. I feel like they've done such a great job of touching on their older elements while bringing it straight into the fold, It's, I really can't recommend this enough.
I agree. I highly recommend you going out and picking this album up today, or listen to it on Spotify's or how you ever listen to it. They had some cool special editions on their website, like the special edition that I got wasn't the most expensive one, but they had one that came with a vinyl and 3 candles that had their album logo on it, a t-shirt, a vinyl or CD or both, and then the digital copy, which I'm a big fan of getting digital copies along with the physical media. That way you have both. And also with physical media, which might add, I did pre-order the album off their website. Even though I pre-ordered, I was supposed to get a digital copy of it. I got a digital copy of the first 3 singles, but I did not get the full album. I was very disappointed because if I would have got the full album, I could have just burned it and listened to it in my car. And then when I got the CD, enjoyed it after that. But unfortunately, I did not. So again, I had to listen to it digitally or on YouTube, and I was slightly frustrated. And but I can't take points off of the album for that because that's more of a distribution thing.
Right.
In physical media, it's at a weird phase right now, and I think that's a subject for another another video, which would be a fun video.
Yeah.
But yeah, highly recommend this album. Like I said, if you're expecting it to be like the early albums, it's not there. But if you've listened to any of their previous albums, or that you haven't listened to them since, the Dirt or even Jar of Flies, EP and stuff like that, it's cool to go ahead and start. This is a good starting point. Yeah. All right, well, that's been our episode. If you'd like to see any other reviews on our channel, you can leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit that like button. I'm Special K.
And I'm Prairie Dog.
Thanks for watching.